I recently downloaded the Fallout 76 public test server to give the new Pitt expeditions a try. Before we go any further, this video will contain footage and breakdowns of the Pitt. That means potential spoilers lie ahead. I will say that I only went through one quest in the Pitt, but if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, you have been warned. Before we jump completely into the new update and my thoughts about it, I want to give a brief rundown of my experience with Fallout 76. I have 165 hours in-game for the PC version and close to 400 on console, Xbox One to be specific. I am a Fallout First member, and I have been since it launched. While I disagree with the service, I think the game feels like it's missing something without it. This adds to a lot of why I don't like Fallout 76. While there are a few things I think the game does really well, like the world map, the cryptids, and the dialogue system, keeping such critical game mechanics behind a paywall leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The point I'm trying to make here is that I've spent a bit of time with the game. I've tried to like it and even found some things that I think positively about it. But I am not just out to badmouth Fallout 76. I came into the Pit wanting to like it and tried to keep an open mind while navigating the quest. That being said, let's talk about the add-on, or at least the bit that we get to check out in the public test server, and I will share my take on what I experienced. The add-on starts with a new White Spring location of sorts. At least I believe the refuge was added with this update. It could have been like this before, as I haven't played Fallout 76 in a while. This introduction has you running quests for various NPCs inside White Spring Refuge. The one that sticks out to me the most is the cooking bit, where we help out a French chef. Well, I think she is a French chef, but the accent is done horribly, and I'm not sure if this was on purpose to add to the character somehow. Perhaps the NPC saw a few old holotapes of a cooking program and is now mimicking how the host was talking.
How wonderful! I can't wait to whip up something delicious for everyone! The stew requires potatoes, venison, salt, black pepper, and carrots. The ingredients can be found in our storage area. Your job is to grab the ingredients and put them in before the stew burns. Put on the chef's coat over there and then we'll get started. We must have you looking your best in my kitchen.
Whatever the case, it seems to me that they staffed a native English speaker and had them pretend to have an accent, as we can hear it break many times. I'm curious as why they didn't just hire someone with a natural French accent, but I digress. The quest itself is fun. We need to make a stew and have to keep stirring it while gathering ingredients. I found it entertaining and engaging. I wanted to make sure the stew came out right, and I hope to see more quests like this in Bethesda games. Searching a nearby area for the proper objects while maintaining the dish's integrity felt like a new experience, and if not overused, it would be great to see more of it. Completing these quests earns us ultrasight batteries that will power the vertibird and take us to the Pit. So after helping these NPCs, we will be ready for takeoff. This is something that does have me a little excited for the future of Fallout 76. The way the game makes a point to tell you that the vertibird will be used to take you to faraway lands outside of Appalachia feeds my curiosity about what we will see in the future. Will we see the Capital Wasteland, the Commonwealth, or even parts of New California? Seeing past locations added to the mix will be very interesting for sure. It's important to note that I'll be doing all of this solo when Fallout 76 seems to recommend a team of 4. Altogether, it took me around an hour to do the Union Dues quest in the Pit. Still, I was exploring as much as possible and was vastly outnumbered by my enemies. One of the first things I want to talk about is what I consider to be the best part of Fallout 76 typically, the world building. The Pit itself looks fine, but I found it hard to see any real resemblance to what we saw in Fallout 3. We may be in a completely different area, so it makes sense to not recognize everything. Still, it looked to me more like a repainted Appalachia with elements from the Pit littered about. That being said, it doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination, but Fallout 76's greatest strength is the playable map. The area we get isn't some giant world space. While I did some slight exploring, the whole area loops back around on itself, with one location being entirely controlled by the instantly hostile fanatics. Clearing the area works a bit, but even then, there isn't much to find. The Pit expedition was not created to give us some new area to explore. Instead, it feels more like an arena to provide us with a themed daily operation. I suspect that as more places get added to expeditions, it will be primarily treated like an instance dungeon, where you will go in with your team to a location of your choice and do that themed combat run. While some may not find any problems with this, I believe that there is no reason Bethesda can't offer more world map space. While I understand the desire for more objective-based missions and wanting to spruce that up as much as you can, I think it would be far more enjoyable to just get new locations outright. Perhaps it would be far more work than it's worth to do such a thing, but if the Pit could host camps, settlements, and its own main story quest, I think that far more people would be a fan of the add-on. Offering new world spaces like this would add a ton of playability to Fallout 76, and it would be awesome to have new places to explore and set up shop. What it seems like Bethesda will be delivering to us is more akin to what I said before, themed missions that resemble daily operations. Go to a location, clear it out, and defend said location, and then return to the quest giver to tie up the loose ends. With a competent team of 4, the Union Dues quest that I played through likely would have taken around 15 minutes or less, especially after a few playthroughs and the exploration bug had worn off from being in a new area like the Pit. I was tasked with speaking to a local and then setting up Union trackers inside different locations run by the Fanatics. I liked the way the enemies looked. A lot of their armor reminded me of things that I had seen in Fallout Tactics, and it worked really well in the Pit. As expected, clearing out Fanatics and defending my position was the bulk of what I had to do. However, there was a time when the quest had me find different materials to sabotage equipment in the area. After the smoke had cleared, that was it. Fallout 76 directs you back to the Vertibird to fly back to Appalachia and leave the Pit behind us. This is why I think overall, this add-on will fall short with fans. Fallout as a series has exploration and wanderlust in its blood. When you remove that from the experience, it truly doesn't even feel like you were playing a Fallout game anymore. During the middle of the Union Dues quest, while recording this video, I found myself to be very bored. I didn't have a lot of desire past making this video to even complete the quest, and had I not been recording, I likely would have quit early. My opinion isn't more valuable than anyone else's. Some fans of Fallout 76 will likely love what Bethesda has to offer and will be completely happy with the add-on. My only point is that when adding a new world space, it would be nice to have it act as a new world space, and not just a unique setting for the same type of missions that we've had access to since launch. Fallout 76 has a ton of issues. While most argue they have been ironed out, I beg to differ. Sure, Fallout 76 has fixed a lot of bugs. They added NPCs, which vastly improved the gameplay and the story featured in the game. But the problems aren't so skin deep. Fallout 76, at its soul, has all but abandoned the very vibe of the game series it's a spin-off of. While the mini retcons can get under our skin, and the Brotherhood of Steel fan service can get old at times, Fallout 76 still just doesn't feel like it's a Fallout game. Even with its similarities to Fallout 4, I never get the same feeling I get like when I'm playing any of the other Fallout titles. I don't have the sense of wonder, the feeling to explore. Granted, when the game launched, I may have wanted to search around the map and find everything I could, but that quickly wore off. A lot of this can be blamed on the live service model itself, and maybe not so much on Fallout 76 as a game. Bethesda's decision was still to make everything that we see in the game though. Good or bad, every step taken was done so purposefully, and this is absolutely the game that Bethesda wants us to have. The point of this video isn't to drag Fallout 76. Many people enjoy their time with it, but most of the time they're finding their own fun. Most of the Twitter posts I see about Fallout 76 include people doing their own thing. Fighting contests, camp building competitions, and even full-blown plays acted out by players online with each other. The one thing all of these activities have in common is it's not what the game is directing you to do. While the game is telling its hardcore fan base to grind the dailies and team up for operations, they would rather host their own events and ignore what they've been forced to do for the past year in game. Whether you enjoy the game or not, I think that most people would agree that the idea of new world spaces that act the same way the rest of the map does would be much more welcome and likely increase returning player rates and even bring in new people. I can imagine someone who is a fan of Fallout New Vegas hearing that some of the Mojave was being added to the expeditions, and then they would want to come check it out for themselves. They likely wouldn't be thrilled if it amounted to a run and gun mission hosted in an empty shell of a painted up Mojave themed arena. However, suppose they had this fantastic world space that hosted some locations from that area to explore and places to build a camp in their favorite wasteland. In that case, it could potentially make a long-term player out of someone who usually wouldn't give Fallout 76 the time of day. Overall, I think the Pit falls short, mainly because of how the add-on works, but because of the missed opportunity. The future is exciting for sure. I look forward to seeing what other locations get added to expeditions. Still, I have my expectations more in line with what I experienced here in the Pit. If you like the idea of daily operation style missions inside these themed areas, you will love the Pit add-on. I can absolutely see people enjoying their time with this, especially current players of Fallout 76. If you like what the game has to offer already, you will love your trip to Pittsburgh. I hope to see proper world map expansions in Fallout 76. I fully believe that this is the only new Fallout content we will be getting for the next decade due to Bethesda being busy with Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6, especially returning to places from other games. I've always enjoyed seeing locations in different time periods, and this would be an excellent opportunity for the Fallout series to do that. Expeditions has the potential to be some of the best content Fallout 76 may get. The possibilities are literally endless for where we could go with the system they have established. Only time will tell where Bethesda plans to go with the content, but it certainly has me intrigued. I definitely want to see what you guys have to say about the add-on. Do you like what is offered? What would you want to see in the future expeditions? Let me know in the comments below. While I would have wanted to take this in a different direction, I still think the inclusion of new locations is a great step for Fallout 76. The world map does look excellent, and it does a good job of painting the vibe of the pit. Just watch out for the trogs. They are quite a bit tougher than you might remember.
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl. Testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die.